Hi there. Let's talk about men without work. Hello, I'm Conrad Hall. This is the Cranium x Rectum YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining me. And this time around, I want to talk about the phenomenon that is known as men without work. And there are a couple of articles that I want to refer to. One is by Nicholas, I apologize if I get your last name wrong. Nicholas Eberstadt. Nicholas, if I have mispronounced that, please let me know in the comments how to correctly pronounce it, and I will. His article is from November 4th of 2022, and it's The Disturbing Rise of Men Not in the Labor Force. And it's all about the idea that men, specifically, have left the labor force. So it's more than simply being unemployed. They have no desire to find a job. They aren't even looking. They aren't even trying. As I'm sure you can imagine, that's a wee bit of an issue. Especially because it is millions of men no longer looking for work. This article says it is over 7 million men ages 25 to 54. So I'm kind of glad that I don't have to worry about it because I'm 56, so I'm not in the statistic. And I guess technically I have no job. There is nowhere I go every day to work and no paycheck that I receive. My job is to write books. I have published 9 of them so far, to do videos like this, to write articles, to share what it is that I have learned over 56 years of life. Okay, so I'm not in these statistics. But there is an interesting note, and yes, I am reading from the articles that I have. It says, now Nicholas makes this point, he says, for every unemployed, prime-age American man looking for a job, there are over four neither working nor looking for work. And there's a new term for them, NILFs, N-I-L-F, not in labor force. So instead of MILF, the more commonly known one, it's NILF. Sidebar, NILF is not an acronym. Neither is MILF. Neither are a lot of things that people say are acronyms. To be an acronym, the initials must form a word in the English language. So when I talk about PEP and POOP, PEP is personal empowerment practices. POOP is personal offensive obstructive practices. Those are acronyms because PEP and POOP are words in the English language. NILF, on the other hand, is just a set of initials that happen to be easily pronounced. Another one that's very common is now an acronym that was not an acronym when it started. NASA, the North American Space Administration. When it was first coined, it was just a set of initials. Now, because it is so commonly referred to as NASA, NASA has in effect become its name. NASA is now an acronym because it is now a word in the English language. Just a side point. Also a pet peeve. Illiteracy really bothers me. Now, Nicholas makes the point that actually this has been going on for 2 generations. That men have just been leaving the workforce. I kind of question that, partly because sociologists are now terming a generation as being approximately 15 years, whereas historians will label a generation being at least 25 years. So, I'm a little uncertain about it being 2 generations worth. Kind of depends on how you define a generation. But Nicholas goes through this and makes points about, for example, during COVID, 2020 and 2021. People left the workforce, and they have yet to return to the workforce, for whatever reason. In some cases, it might be something like this. Instead of going to work at whatever their job was before, they have started to make videos about, there is a woman who has videos on YouTube, and she has, I think it's a parrot. She is absolutely welcome to correct me on the type of bird. The bird's name is Gizmo. She calls the bird Giz. And she has, I believe now, 500,000 subscribers to her channel. And obviously, because YouTube pays money based on the number of views you get, she is doing well enough to make money from this. So, and I realize it's a girl as opposed to a boy, but there's someone who may very well have left the workforce because she has found another way of making money. And there are people all over the world, let alone in the United States, but all over the world, who are making videos about the things that they do. I have seen several videos from a fellow recently who lives in the Florida Everglades and goes out looking for Burmese pythons, which are an invasive species, and in the process he educates people about the wildlife that he encounters in the Florida Everglades. He also makes a point of showing the fact that he is walking around in bare feet and shorts while he is doing this. So, I don't know. Yeah, would I do it? No. But he lives in the Everglades, has lived there his whole life. He seems to be a young fellow. I have yet to see a video where I see his face or anything. But he might be 17, 18, he might be 24, 25. And if he is getting enough viewership with what he is doing, then there's someone who may have no need to enter the workforce. So when I read this, and especially the title, The Disturbing Rise of Men Not in the Labor Force. And I get that they're making a point that men are just, going their own way kind of thing. That for a while, the MGTOW, men going, MGTOW, men going their own way, was a really popular thing. I believe it is still a hashtag, and there are still lots of folks talking about it. I don't want to make it sound as though it has completely gone away. That would be untrue. But I think you'll find that men and women are leaving the workforce because they have other options. Something that has obviously risen is this ability to code. And I have mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. It's more than just building a website. You can learn how to code to write a video game. You can learn how to code in Microsoft Office and make Excel do things, make Microsoft Word do things. And that's a service that you can provide to business owners. Yeah, the whole idea of being a virtual assistant. There are several networks, but one that I have used and I know about is called Upwork. UPWORK, Upwork. You go on there and you ask somebody to do a book cover, maybe to do editing on a book. They could be a virtual assistant for you so they can book appointments. Whatever you can imagine wanting done, there is a site like Upwork that helps you get that thing done. Or I should say, it's not that the site helps you get it done, but it helps you connect with people who can do that work for you. There's even one, a fellow whose videos I watch is Ryan Macbeth. Capital M, little c, capital B, E-T-H, Ryan Macbeth. And I forget what the service is, but people have been asking him to do personalized messages. And so he makes a little bit of extra money by doing these personalized messages for folks. Father's Day messages, Mother's Day messages, birthday greetings, just whatever anyone asks for. I think we need to stop looking at all the things that are happening either to or for other people. And we need to pay attention to what we are doing. That is a huge big deal. The only thing any of us can control, the only thing that I control, is what I do. And if I find a way to leave the workforce, hey, all the better for me. If I find a way to not have to be doing a job that just pays the bills, whether that's waiting tables, being a short order cook, working in a factory, putting bolts into holes, whatever it is, if I can find a way to make a living without having to punch a clock, then goody for me, goody for you. I did a video about the advice that Mark Cuban gives to young people about starting a business. I have run a program called Youth Learning Code, teaching young adults how to code computers. If you can pick up skills that allow you to earn money, that also keep you from ever having to do a job that you, especially a job that you dislike, that's a good thing. You should do that. You should absolutely pursue those skills. Most importantly, you should be working at building a strong, positive self-image. One of the things I tell the young people who come into Youth Learning Code, because a lot of them are people of color. And yes, I say that rather than saying black, because one of the conversations that I have with them is, none of them are black. Their skin is certainly brown, their hair is black, but they are not black in color. And we get into a lot of conversations on that. But what I teach them is, if you ever get into a situation where you are talking to somebody and you feel that they are talking down to you, they are condescending to you because of your age, or your skin color, or that you're a girl, or that you're a guy, or whatever their reason, because their reason makes no difference. If you feel that they are just talking down to you and being disrespectful to you, then I want your self-image to be strong enough, to be positive enough, that you can stand up, put your hand out, shake their hand, say thank you very much for your time, but I have no interest in being here. Have a good day. And then walk out the door. Because you should never be in a position where you have to put up with somebody else's BS. We do end up in positions where we tolerate other people's BS. And part of that stems from having a poor self-image, that we, put up with it. Some of it will come out of financial circumstances. We hit a rough patch. We need to take a job. The person that we end up working for, or people we end up working with, are less than ideal. But your strong, positive self-image allows you to weather that. Allows you to move through that experience, get stronger, for having had the experience, and move on to better things. Knowing, because you have a strong, positive self-image, that you are capable of moving beyond it, that you are capable of recovering from whatever circumstances or mistake occurred, and building more positive things in your life. So this idea that, it's disturbing that men are leaving the workforce, not really. What might be disturbing is people looking around and going, there are fewer people in the workforce, so we are less able to be choosy about who we get, and people no longer want to work for $10 an hour or $15 an hour. Now we have to start paying $20 an hour, $25 an hour. One of the things that is always in my head, McDonald's used to, they no longer do, they used to guarantee that if you opened a McDonald's and did what they told you to do, you would become a millionaire. But there is McDonald's here, where I live in Toronto, a McCafe that opened up on the ground floor of a student residence. 18 floors of student residence. and it went out of business. Have no idea why, but it went out of business. It closed. However, it has always blown my mind that someone who owns a McDonald's or a Harvey's or Burger King or Applebee's or whatever, IHOP, they have this business and it's making them a millionaire, but they want to pay their employees the absolute minimum they are allowed to pay their employees. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to the people who are making it possible for you to become a millionaire? Now, I absolutely agree. Let's say the minimum wage, where I am, the minimum wage is $15. Let's say that's the minimum wage. So absolutely, a Burger King, an IHOP, whatever, when somebody starts, they should start at $15 an hour. That's the minimum wage. And if they just do the minimum to keep their job, then, maybe they get a raise of 50 cents an hour each year. But if they get really good at what they do, and customers are commenting that this person is really good in service, other workers are commenting that, hey, it's a real joy to work with this person. New employees come in and they say, hey, wow, this person helped me learn this and this and this and this. Does it not make sense to reward that person with a bigger paycheck? It does to me. Someone puts out that kind of effort, it makes sense to me that you reward them because they are even more instrumental in you making lots and lots of money. They're really instrumental in getting people to come back to your facility, whatever it is. They are instrumental in reducing your costs of training by being there to answer questions and to support new employees. So it really makes sense to reward them, which a lot of business owners disagree with that approach. Yeah, they say, well, I'm very successful, I'm doing very well, and if they don't like the job, they can just quit. Wow. Yeah. Farfignugan, you too. If you are a business owner and that is your attitude, then I hope all of your employees quit just as quickly as possible. And then you can be in the kitchen, you can be picking up the garbage, you can be washing all the tables and dishes and so on. And let's see how you enjoy doing the work. Okay, that's my 2 cents worth. Was it helpful? Or am I just blathering on for no useful purpose? I hope it was useful. I would like you to tell me in the comments, please, whether it was. If there are questions that you have, I'm happy to answer them. If you have suggestions for how I can do this differently or do this better, I would really appreciate that. If you are a troll and you have nasty things to say, then farfignugan you. And I would also ask, please, it is a huge help to me, if you would please like the video, click the thumbs up, and please subscribe. That is a metric that YouTube uses to both measure my success and reward me for success. So if you would like the video and subscribe, those are 2 excellent things that are free and very helpful to me. Also, hugely important, please let me know. Any questions, any thoughts, suggestions, I want to know. I want to hear what you think. Okie doke. Bye-bye.